Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever this stream is finding you. Welcome to another episode of Recover the Ball with Cowboy Chris. So glad y'all tuning in again. This is the show where we meet at the intersection of healing, hope, and having a good time. And I'm so excited to be bringing to you another good episode of Recover the Ball. This is our second episode, and we're going to be streaming. We're going to be coming to you every second and fourth Monday of the month, and it's going to be on a consistent basis now. So I'm real excited to get this going. This is the Recover the Ball. This is the show where we're going to talk some Dallas Cowboys. As you can see, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. We're going to give you some nuance, some insight, and just our opinions, and just talk football for a while, talk some fun. And then we're also going to talk about recovery, because that's another purpose and passion of mine. And it's whether you're recovering from illness or loss, whether you're recovering from addiction, or maybe you just simply want to recover those visions, hopes, and dreams, that purpose back into your life. This is the show you want to tune into every Monday. Not every Monday, let me back that up. The second and fourth Monday of every month, where you can tune in to Recover the Ball, and we're going to have a good time, y'all. And I want to shout out to all the other content creators out there that's talking Dallas Cowboys as well, because what I found since I've been tuning in, the three-letter networks, they're fun and all, it's a lot of personalities on there, but sometimes they don't give you that nuance like we're going to try to give you, as well as, I like watching some of the other content creators out there on your YouTubes and things like that. That's what got me and sparked the idea for me to come on and say, hey, why not create my own show? This has been a passion of mine for years. And I said, hey, I love the Dallas Cowboys. I love watching the content. I can just mix two of my passions together, and that's why I talk about meeting at that intersection of healing, hope, and having a good time. So we're going to get ready to get this episode started. I'm so excited, to be with you all again. And once again, I'm Cowboy Chris. I'm going to be your host each and every time, and I'm so excited. So we're going to jump into this first segment, and we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And then I'm always going to bring on a Dallas Cowboy. I'm going to bring on a football fan. Let me say that. I'm starting with the Cowboys. I got to bring my Cowboy fans in here first. We got to represent America's team. You know how we do and whatnot, as we should do. Now, I know the season's over. We on the couch. I know, we got our lovers and our haters out there. So, shout out to the haters as well. But we're going to have a good time regardless and whatnot. So my first guest is a Dallas Cowboys fan, of course. But he's also a dear friend of mine, man. We've known each other. I want to say we bonded over the Dallas Cowboys. We've known each other since we were like 8 years old. We met in the third grade. That's how far back, when Chris Tucker and Friday said, that's my dog, that's my dog. This is my dog. So I want to give a big RTB welcome, Recover the Ball welcome to my man, Renaldo Simpson. What's going on, my brother? Ain't nothing. How you feeling today?
Feel good, my brother. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I had to. I'm thinking back in the day, in Marlow Heights, being little kids and us running across each other. And I was like, I'm a Cowboy fan. He was like, I'm a Cowboy fan too.
And it was born from there, right?
And it was born from there, And that's what we like to talk about at Recover the Ball. Football, it's a way that people bond, how people begin to connect in life and whatnot. We bond over music, over sports, and a lot of things and whatnot. But, our connection was more than just the Dallas Cowboys. But, I always ask my Cowboy fans when they come on here, well, what I'm going to do is ask them, how did you become a Cowboy fan? What got you hooked on to the silver and blue?
Well, it was probably the year before I met you. Say we met at 8. We met around 8. It was like 77.
Yeah.
And they won the Super Bowl with characters like Starback,
yeah,
Tony Dorsett,
yeah,
Hollywood Henderson. Mm-hmm. They had the Doomsday Defense, things of that nature. So that's when I became a Cowboys fan, like age 7.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's how I got started being there.
Well, being from here, how come you didn't become a well, they was the Redskins there, but they the Commanders now. How come you ain't go for the home squad?
Well, when you got young at first, your parents and your family, they try to brainwash you to the people around.
Right.
But once I was old enough to make up my own mind, I was like, nah, I think I like those guys with the stars and the blue stars and the gray helmet. So
yeah,
I just defected to over there. So
that
was it.
Yeah, so you've gone through the blues. We've been through the blues together. I guess being here, being a Cowboy fan, but it seems like a lot of us around here anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of us to protect us, and insulate us from a lot of the hate that goes around here as well. So.
And if y'all don't know, we in the DMV. We in DC, Maryland, Virginia area, so it's I can imagine, man. Yeah, I had to shed my tears during the times going through, the Super Bowls against the Steelers.
Yeah, man, those hurt.
Oh, man, what was it? Well, who was it? Jackie? What was it?
Jackie Slater.
Jackie Slater dropped the ball in the end zone. Yeah. Oh, man, that was a heartbreaker. But we got to grow through the glory years as well, in the 90s and whatnot, when, Aikman came in and whatnot, And I remember, I will never will forget, the Super Bowl coming, and you was just like, where you watching the game at? And I was like, well, wherever you going, I'm going. We've been waiting too long. What I'm saying? We were 7 when they first won it and whatnot. So it was like, okay, this may be our year and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And Jimmy took us there.
Took us back to back. You know what I'm saying? Got 3 of them under that regime.
Yeah, I consider those Jimmys too, because the Barry Switzer team, they were on autopilot. That was Jimmy's team. Everybody knows that.
Right. Barry kind of was able to ride the fumes thereafter and whatnot.
Anytime you eat a hot dog on the sideline of the game, during game time. That's pretty easy living right there.
Yeah, no doubt. So now we're going through another stretch. It's been, we're going to 29 years now. It's like we're sitting there waiting. We can't even be excited about going to the Super Bowl. We're trying to get, win a divisional round at this point and whatnot. So what was your take on this season? Be honest, I've been hearing both sides. Diehard Cowboy fans. We got our ride or dies. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it hurts me to have to sit up here and listen to these dudes like Stephen A. every year.
Oh man,
with his diabolical laugh and everything. Talking about our demise is coming, we accident waiting to happen, and all that type of stuff. So, but he's right. He's right. I mean, it always ends up like that for us, and this year was another example of how we, thought we had a good team. We won like 12 games or something like that.
Yeah, 12-5. 12-5. The third year being 12-5.
The second seed, which doesn't seem no matter what seed we had. We had a first seed a couple years ago and got bounced. So it's just, it puts a lot of question marks on what we should do. With at the quarterback position or certain positions. We're gonna stick with the coaching, it seems. So
we're gonna give him. They didn't resign him. Extend him. They didn't extend him.
Right. I know you've been, stringing the warning signs for Dak for a couple years now. So I think you called Romo 2.0. So I've called him that. Each year it seems like it gets better, and I'm just like, but I feel like I'm, it's like. I just feel like I'm hoping, you know what I'm saying? But and this year, he improved to me, he looked a lot better, which made me really look at the coaching side of it. I was like, okay, we got rid of Kellen Moore, and I'm like, okay, well, it looks like, if he gets the right coaching and he gets in the right system, he can do some things. But just like we were talking about before the cameras came on, it's like when the lights get bright, that's when we need you to shine and whatnot. And I've been, I always feel like I'm holding my breath. You know what I'm saying? You're never comfortable. It's just coming up short. So I mean, you really can't be comfortable. But
nah. So you think they're gonna extend him, or how you think they're gonna renew his contract? How you think they're gonna do the contract with him? Or you think they're gonna, just ride out this year and then?
I kind of think they're going to try to ride out this year. I don't think Jerry's really going to extend them from what I've been hearing. What he said the other day about, we go as far as Dak takes us, and we went as far as Dak took us. Pretty much was like, I kind of read into that like, okay, I'm not going to really go ahead and offer him the $60 million anytime soon. I'm going to see what transpires the next year under Mike and everything. And I think all the pieces aren't still there as well. So I can't just say, it's all Dak's fault.
No
he
doubt.
starts pressing when, things aren't going right, like the running game, for instance.
So I'm thinking like, those have been some of my thoughts too, because it's like, even though I may get upset at Dak a bit, but at the same time, it's like, that's why I've been encouraging folks to, check out other content creators, because when you start watching the film, I'm like, sometimes it's like, he don't got nobody to go to. You know, Steve is not running their routes right. And then, you know, even last year when we had Kellen Moore, I was just like, you know, what is he calling? I'm like, we got to be a little bit more creative or give him, you know, looking at Mahomes in the Super Bowl, Mahomes always has, you know, a safety net, whether it's Kelsey or a running back out the back. I'm like, how we designing the system, you know, to support our guy. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the best he can, you know, under the system we got. So I can't be so mad, but at the same time, you know, we come up in an area where it's just like, even when the coaching isn't there and the other things aren't together, you have, you know, your Bradys, your Staubachs, you know, the Aikmans, you know, your Rodgers even, that'll get the job done, you know. So you really want to have that guy in there that you can trust, that even when everything else around him isn't good, including the coaching, that maybe he can create something on his own and, you know, make it come together. And so that's the frustrating part, you know.
You can make up for it, improvise on it.
Yeah, indeed. So what you think we're going to do on the defensive side of the ball? You think we need to make more changes there?
I do. I actually do. I think we need to actually get some linebackers. We haven't really had any linebackers to fill the gaps when they get past the big boys up front.
Yep.
And we're trying to do dearest, but he keeps getting hurt. And, you know, I don't think that's a long-term solution.
No.
It's not going to last. So
right.
We need to get some more linebackers. I understand Micah was supposed to be a linebacker, but he moved to the end position. So we need to get some linebackers so we can fill in and stop that running game. And, you know.
Yeah. I agree. It looked like we had a star, DeMarvion Overshown, the rookie, but then his ACL went, you know. And then injury bug bit us kind of early in the game as well, you know, with Diggs going down. And then DeMarvion Overshown, he went down, and it was just like, but then it just seemed like that's when you look at your coaching and you're like, okay, hey, why don't we get some, some free agents, you know, why aren't we refilling that position? And we see it's getting empty. And so then we start converting safeties, you know, Marquise Bell, but, you know, he kind of light, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can only do so much. You know, you got a big Derrick Henry or some big boys coming down on you, or when they, you know, people using sophisticated schemes and using linemen to come down and block down, you know, downfield. It's like
tight ends
pulling and things like that. It's like, come on, we need to bulk up at front so we can, you know, have a little bit more success there and whatnot, you know?
Yeah. So I say we need to restock our linebackers. I think we need to get a safety. He doesn't ever really go get a safety.
Yeah.
I would like for him to go get a safety. I liked our safeties that we had, kind of, but I guess they kind of worn thin.
Yeah,
because they start getting hurt, like you said, the injury bug
start hitting. Curse, Hooker,
But that's pretty much about it.
Yeah. So now, and it's funny, now we got Dan Quinn. He stayed in the NFC East. He's over at the Commanders. You think that's going to provide dividends for our DMV family and whatnot?
I'm not sure how that's gonna work out for them, but you know, God bless Dan Quinn. He did a good job for us for the most part. The playoff thing was a debacle, but hey, I don't understand how we had I think 48 of the plays out of 54 or something like that. We
went zone versus man.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Yeah. So they just ran it down our throat. So kudos to them, but bad game planning right there.
Yeah, and that was the disappointing part, you know, because even if Dak was hot, you know what I'm saying, if he went down and, you know, he was trying to come back, it's like our defense couldn't stop nothing. It's like, how would we be a top 10 all year and then get in the playoffs and look like, you know, that's why I was like, when they said he was going, I wasn't as disappointed. I was like, okay, maybe we need to change it up at defense, because even there, the beginning of the year, I was like, hey, you know, maybe we got something, you know, Dan Quinn's going to coach our boys up, and even if we're struggling on offense, our defense going to carry us. But when you really look at it, Dak was the one that was carrying us most of the year and whatnot. So even with that, I'm just like, I can't even be so mad, because, you know, without Dak, it was like, okay, our defense, you know, some games we showed up and, you know, we got some stars on there, but sometimes when, you know, at the most, you know, critical moments, our defense sometimes would, you know, wouldn't show up the way we need them to. And what more critical moment is there than the playoffs, you know what I mean?
No doubt. 48-16 in the fourth quarter, that says a lot. So.
Oh, my goodness, you know?
We didn't stop them at all, really.
Yeah. So I'm looking at, you know, I'm with you. I'm like, do you keep up with the draft much and whatnot?
I haven't been studying it too much this year yet, but I'll get into it as it gets a little closer.
Yeah, me too, because I'm thinking, I'm curious as to where we'll go in the first round. Like you said, I'm hoping we'll go get us a linebacker and also get a lineman. I'm thinking we need, a new center as well too. Tyler Biadasz, he's kind of light too. It's like sometimes when I'm watching him do his thing, it's like, okay, if they getting pressure up the front, Dak's almost having to, be in panic mode, right off the break and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's no good for any quarterback, really, and whatnot, So I'm like, maybe we can get a couple linemen in the draft. I'm looking at some linebackers and, even another receiver too, whatnot,
Well, I kind of like the receivers that we had, but I think they were just too heavily dependent on CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Cooks enough. And the Gallo, he just almost disappeared. I was like, is Gallo even playing today?
Yeah.
I liked Ferguson at tight end. So
I
think we had enough receivers and everything to get the job done, but I think we really lacking, and we got to go get a running back.
Yes.
Someone who could take that pressure off of Pollard.
Yes, indeed.
It's not an every
down back. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to spend a whole lot on that either. It's always some good backs in the draft.
True.
And I think we can, Derrick Henry's out there, but I don't think, Steven has, the fiscally sound cowboy, as we like to call him, and whatnot. He's not going to spend too much money on a running back and whatnot.
I think that was the trade deadline move. I'm not so sure about now.
Yeah. You think you might spend some money?
Well, I mean, the Derrick Henry move back before the trade line.
Yeah, but he's a free agent now.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, they might talk to him, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You think he might be getting too old? Because, running backs, when they go, they go. It's like sometimes kind of hard to,
What, he's 30-something now?
30-something now, yep.
Yeah, so might.
Yeah, but there's some other ones out there. And like you said, we can maybe get a lot of ones that come in the draft that look strong, right off the break. Because they always say it's not too smart to sign a running back after, you maybe give him one good contract. Because sometimes, well, we saw that when we signed Zeke again. Right. That was something that,
Right. And we see how hard it was for them to get their money this past year, this past offseason. So guys were signing one-year deals like Saquon and them.
Yeah,
so, it's tough on the running backs right now.
Indeed. So, well, family, that's our Cowboys update for the moment and whatnot. I guess we can get into some of the other playoff conversations since, we on the couch. We know. But I'm staying glued in, kind of trying to see what we're going to do when, watching some of the other YouTubers showing some film on some guys out there. And I'm like, there's some prospects. I'm not sure where we're picking because it's like we do well enough to where, we're picking pretty low on the draft, draft and whatnot. So we know we're not going to get a high draft pick. Right. But whoever we picking, that first and second round, maybe we get somebody to help us out and, got guys coming back from injury. So like, is your hopes, like what's your going, I know now I feel like I'm still healing a little bit. Like my hope meter ain't too high going into next year just yet and whatnot. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's your hope meter at going into next year?
We always try to keep hope alive, my brother.
Yes, indeed.
We try to keep that alive through the years that we've known each other. So it's been a long time riding this hope train with the Cowboys here lately. But I guess we're going to stay pretty much the way we are. So I'm going to say a 6.
About a 6 going into the next season. 6. Then by the time, summer get here, we get hype. We might could go to 8, draft.
We trade and get somebody free agency or something like that or whatever, We'll see. I might get up to 7.
Indeed. Right. That's usually me. Like right now, so I'm probably at a 5 at the moment as far as my hope. But now when we're looking at the defensive coordinators, because it looks like, we might, the one leading the camp is Mike Zimmer right now. It looks like, looking at all the blogs and things like that, he might be one to come in.
That's right. I haven't heard that name.
Yeah. So say that again?
I hadn't heard him as a possible candidate yet.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that, he usually has a good defense. When he was coaching up in Minnesota, he's done a good job. And they talking about Wink Martindale from the Giants, and And Ron Rivera, I'm not too interested in that.
Yeah, I heard that one. I was like, eh.
I'm not feeling that one too much and whatnot. But Mike Zimmer, I'm like, okay, looking at that, or Vrabel, he's out there,
Well, when I thought about the question, I was like, okay, well, Vrabel would be good, but I'm sure he's interested in the head coaching job.
Right.
And just like Bill Belichick would be great, but he's interested in the head coaching job. So I started really thinking about, at this late date, who else is really available? And
it'd probably be like a new guy, coordinate,
Well, I don't know any of the young new guys.
Young star. Yeah, me neither. Like, as far as on the defensive side, I hear them talk about like the offensive coordinators a lot. Like the guy from Detroit, and the guy from Houston. They're offensive coordinators, so you always hear like the offensive coordinator guys, but because, like with the changes in the NFL, the new systems, or get a guy from the Shanahan tree, you hear that a lot. But as far as the a star defensive coordinator, young guy, I don't hear too many names about that. So, mostly it's like, the old veteran guys that's coming in, that we got to look at and whatnot. So
I start kicking them around. I wasn't too excited about any of those names that I was kicking around. So yeah. I'm not sure who to get for DC right now. Yeah,
me neither and whatnot. Did you enjoy the playoffs after we was out? Did it go like you expected?
I was able to enjoy the playoffs, I pretty much, Patrick Mahomes and them just kept making me a believer and a believer and a believer.
Man.
But, this is a tough game with Frisco coming up. So that should be a good game.
I think so, too. Who are you picking for the Super Bowl?
I think right now I'm leaning with Frisco.
Okay. All right. Now, I got to listen to my brother here. This is like another story of ours is, for a long time, looking for my outlets, I wanted to get into fantasy football. And this brother right here, he's the one that pulled me in and changed my whole way of rooting as we speak. And when I cheer for my Cowboys differently now, depending upon who they're going against and who I need to score. Go ahead and, get some points for me and whatnot, And you did great this year. How'd you end up in your leagues with fantasy?
I actually won 2 regular season titles, and then I was actually able to win a playoff championship in our league that we share together. So
right.
I did actually pretty good. So
indeed,
I was actually able to. I mean, a couple other things too. So a couple of pick'em leagues, I did some good things in as well. So we have a pick'em league.
Yeah, he's part. See, we go so far back. He's part of my family pick'em league, and. You at the top right now. It's coming down to the Super Bowl.
I'm trying to.
I was trying to catch up. I was on his tail. I was pretty close. And then last week, I didn't pick too well, family. I thought the Ravens were going to do it. Karen tried to tell me, but she said you need to root for the Chiefs. I was like,
He swung for the fences.
I swung for the fences.
Came up a little short.
Yeah, because I picked Lamar and I also picked Detroit because I want to shout out to my Detroit family and whatnot.
He was looking good in the first half. He was looking real good in the first half.
I was. And then, went chalk pretty much if you root that way and whatnot. So
then Dan Campbell it away.
Oh man. I was like, what you doing, Dan? What you doing, Dan? So that hurt me. That hurt me pretty well and whatnot. So yeah, but I'm rooting for you, brother. I hope you go ahead and
appreciate it as always.
Indeed. So we'll go ahead and bring it home for the family and whatnot. But it's part of the family league. But So, but at the same time, you my main dog. So I want to see you go ahead and win it up.
The greatest show on turf, I believe he's a
the greatest show. Yeah, coach and whatnot. yeah. My nephew's coaching football. He's part of the league too. So we cover the ball as a family show and whatnot. And keeping that in mind, so maybe next year as we grow this podcast, we get a lot of followers, maybe we'll create a league for Recover the Ball and get folks to join that fantasy league. So we'll have another league, a way to build that camaraderie around recovery and another way to meet at that intersection. So stay tuned for next season. We might have a fantasy league for y'all to join in on and whatnot. So
interesting.
Yeah. And as we're getting ready to close out this segment of the show and whatnot, that as you know, we also talk about recovery as well and whatnot, and you've been a part of my recovery journey and whatnot, and you're on a recovery journey of your own and whatnot. You care to share a little bit about your recovery journey?
Okay, no problem. I'm on a prostate cancer recovery.
Indeed.
Back in 2018, it was a diagnosis that I might have a form of the disease. I need to get checked out. So in 2019, I got checked out and had a biopsy, and it was small percent of cancer, which they called it early, which is a key thing. Get checked out.
Indeed.
Go get your
checked out,
checkups, my brothers, and
Indeed.
of all flavors.
Yeah.
Go get your checkups, my sisters as well. And try to catch it early and try to be preventative instead of reactive more. But yeah, so I came up with a small percentage of cancerous tissue. And basically what happened was my PSA number, which is
yes,
prostate specific antigen number.
Okay.
They call it PSA.
Yeah.
And that came up high because I was a proponent of actually having we call it the finger wave, where the doctor, actually tests your prostate directly. And when I had that done, he actually said that my prostate had no lumps or polyps or anything, that's bumps or anything like that.
Right.
And it felt normal and smaller than the man my age that normally would have. So everything was fine. But the PSA number came up high real quickly. And that's when I got the test and it came back for that. So I was presented with several options, take radiation, I could do chemo, I could do surgery. So I opted to have it removed. We thought that was the best way just to get it on out. And ever since then, I've just been on a recovery since then, and
Indeed.
Trying to get back healthy and stay healthy, and
Indeed.
see what's going on.
Well, you always in my prayers, brothers, and on my Recover the Ball family to keep you in their prayers as well.
Thank you
as
very
you're going
much.
through this journey and whatnot. That's what it's about. We a family show here at Recover the Ball. And I want to encourage, like my man Renaldo said, go get yourself checked out, because we're meeting at that intersection of healing. And we want everybody out there to be healing whole and love up on your family members as much as you can, because it's very important, that we take care of each other, because when the game is over, we want to continue the game of life and whatnot. That's so important that we do that for each other and that we do it for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And take away the fear, the shame, or the guilt you may have about getting yourself checked out. None of that has to be there. So with that in mind, we're going to get ready to close this section out. I want to thank my dog for coming through for this first segment and whatnot. And we're going to come back in this next segment and just talk a little bit more about recovery. And I got another star that we're going to interview and have a good time with. So stay tuned. This is your boy, Cowboy Chris. Remember, we are on the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month in February. I appreciate y'all tuning in. But come on back, because we got one more segment to go. This is Cowboy Chris. We'll Recover the Ball. That's new cadence. Here we go. That's going viral the whole nine. So you're now rocking with Cowboy Chris and Recover the Ball, where we're going to be talking football. We're going to talk recovery and being at that intersection of healing, hope, and having a good time, folks. I want you to give me 15 minutes and then give me the last 15 minutes and then check out at least 3 episodes. And I'm sure you'll be convinced that this is the show that you want to rock with great Cowboys content. We're going to be talking recovery, we're going to talk in life, because, in life, we're trying to not only, root on our teams, and we're not only talking about recovery from substance abuse, we're talking about recovery. There's a lot of people out there trying to recover their dreams, trying to recover that hope, trying to recover that purpose. And we're going to do that here on Recover the Ball with Cowboy Chris. I'm going to have great guests, like my great guest I have here now, Karen. She's going to rock with me, and we're going to be doing great things here at Recover the Ball with Cowboy Chris. Tune in. Welcome back to Recover the Ball with Cowboy Chris. I am here bringing you another live episode, recorded episode. I say live and whatnot. You still see y'all. I'm working through my nerves, but I'm so glad y'all keep tuning in. But we're at the second segment of Recover the Ball with Cowboy Chris. And as you know, in my second half, we delve into the world of recovery, which is another passion of mine. And here at Recover the Ball, we talk about recovery from illness and loss, like we did in the first segment. And we talk about recovery from addiction and substance use. And we also talk about recovering your hopes and your dreams, and because that's the big one of all. And usually when you take care of the first two, the third one is the one we all really trying to get back to that purpose and that passion in life. And that's what we want to do here at Recover the Ball, is build a family where we all getting on our game and staying on our game. And so as we enter into this next segment, I got my recovery star with me. And this is a person that I've worked with. I want to say we met back in 2019. And we met at DC Recovery Community Alliance. And she's a person that does some of the work that I mentioned in the first episode of doing peer support recovery and things like that. And so she's become a family member of mine, a friend of mine, because we're out here doing a lot of work in the DC, Maryland, Virginia community, trying to be advocates for people that are overcoming substance use. So what I want to do is bring on my recovery star, and for her to tell a little bit about herself. Welcome to the Recover the Ball family, Mozell Brown. How you doing, Mozell?
I'm good, Chris. Thank you for having me.
I had to have you, because I always appreciate seeing the work that you do here in the community and in the DMV community, but just hearing your story. You're just an amazing person, and since we started working at DC Recovery together, just seeing you in action, and also you're an inspiration as well, just seeing how you've educated yourself. You know, you don't stop at just becoming a certified peer specialist. Why don't you tell people some of the other accolades that you've been able to get for yourself since you started doing this work?
Well, in 2013, I graduated from the University of District of Columbia with a bachelor's degree in social work.
Right.
And I went on to get my master's degree. I took an online course at the University of Southern California.
I remember.
And that was in 2022. I graduated with a master's degree with a 3.79 grade point average.
Stay in school, folks.
Yeah, because education is power.
It is.
It is. And the type of work that I do, some of the degrees I took were under mental health and substance use disorder. And I also just completed my certified addiction counseling course back in July.
That's right.
Of last year. So I'm in the process of getting my intern hours and going and sit before the board to get my license as a licensed professional counselor, as well as my license for LGSW, which is a licensed graduate social work. And then from on there, I go get my LIC.
Nice. That's wonderful that you just continue to get the credentials you need. But I think in my mind, it's like the work that I see you do, seems like it's such a labor of love to you. And one of the things, like I asked in the first segment, how you become a Cowboy fan, what I always like to do with my recovery stars is like, well, what I like to ask is, when you hear the word recovery, what does that mean to you? What does the word recovery mean to you?
What recovery means to me is gaining back what you lost. And see, I lost a whole lot because I'm also a recovered alcoholic as well, you know. And actually, Saturday, February the 10th, I will have 32 years of sobriety.
Awesome sauce.
You know, and so during my drinking, I lost a lot, you know, and most importantly, I lost me. It wasn't much material stuff that I lost.
Right.
Because I ain't paying no attention to that stuff anyway. You know, my mind was just sitting on getting the next one. But I lost me, you know, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I lost me. So recovery to me means gaining back what I lost and more. And I'm talking from a mental, spiritual, and physical aspect.
Right.
Not material stuff, because I get that stuff.
Right.
But when you lose you, it's a process in getting you back, because you got to find out who you are. Because what alcohol does, it robs you of everything. It's like a rapacious predator. It robs you of your identity. You become somebody else. And then you don't know who you are. Yeah, so that's what recovery means to me.
Got you. So in doing the work, so how, I'm thinking about, like, as a peer advocate, is in doing the work that you do in peer recovery, how does that support, your own recovery journey?
So I've been doing this work as long as I've been sober. So it's been like 30 plus years.
Got you.
I started as soon as I, started my journey, because much was given to me.
Right.
And so I have to give it back. If I don't give back, then I can't keep it. And so I decided to get in this field to help other women and men who are struggling with substance use, because substance use is real.
Yeah.
And it's a disease.
Yes, it is.
And the one thing I do, I share my story, how I overcame the disease of alcoholism.
Yeah.
Because what I know is that there's life after drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's life after drinking, and all the things that I miss drinking, I have gained. Cause see, I was a ninth grade dropout.
Wow.
But I came into recovery and I went back to school. I got my GED. That prevailed me to go and get my bachelor's degree with some help. With people pushing me and people pouring into my life.
Yeah.
So it's only right for me to pour into somebody else's life if they willing. If they willing to receive the help. Because they got to be willing to want to make a change in their own life.
Right.
And so what I do, because I'm a social worker, because I have a master's degree in social work, I'm considered a change agent. So I've done advocacy work. I worked at Children's Hospital for 10 years as an advocate, family advocate. And it always had been in me ever since a little girl. Okay. Because when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a nurse. Because I was fascinated about the white cap, the
uniform.
Now. The white cap, the white uniform, the white shoes. Because every time my mother took me to the hospital, I was just fascinated about this white uniform. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to grow up and be a nurse. And I went to school for nursing assistant. Okay. And I worked in a nursing home. Did my clinical in Greater Southeast Community Hospital before they changed the name. So I always been in like the helping field. Got you. So I had a moment where when I got lost and I couldn't do it. Right. But when I got found, how about that? Yeah. I came back to my passion. And my passion is to help people. But most importantly, I had to help me first. Yes, indeed. You said something so interesting. They said you're a change agent. And I know part of the work one of the first things we learn is in peer advocacy, one of the first things I learned was about the stages of change and just how, like when you just said, like a person has to be willing. And so you have to know where they are on that stages of change chart to see whether they are willing or just where they at in in their own journey to overcome. Who were some of the change agents for you when you, or what was the moment for you like that you became willing to make that change for yourself? What was that like? What happened was that when I saw me, it wasn't me. And I had to do something. You didn't like the representative? No. Yeah. I didn't know who that person was. Okay. And so I had to make a change. And the person who helped me get on this journey was a good friend of mine that saw something in me that I ain't seen myself. And after I got my footing, that person died. Wow. But I lived on. And that person helped me get on this journey almost 32 years ago. Because what they did for me, they introduced me to a doctor. And as alcoholics, we in denial. I told the doctor I didn't have a problem. It was people. If people left me alone, I'd be all right. Right. But then I tried to stop, but I couldn't, and so I went back, and that guy started that process for me, because if I hadn't have met him, and I know the day that God placed that person right there at that moment in my life. Yes. because my life had already spiraled out of control. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me to that doctor, and the seed was planted.
Okay.
And then I said, well, maybe, just maybe, I might have a problem.
I might.
Just maybe.
Just
I
maybe.
might. I wasn't sure.
You weren't sure. Right. So
But I might.
I'll do a little investigation and whatnot.
I'm going to go and see.
Right.
And so I went into treatment, and I really didn't want to be there. And I remember the lady telling me that the door unlocks from the inside. And then it hit me that I ain't had nowhere to go. So I stayed. You know, and I stayed
powerful.
on this journey. And I got to meet people like you, several other people that poured into my life.
Yeah.
They told me, you know, no matter what happens, you ain't got to go back.
That is powerful. That is
I
powerful.
started belonging to the No Matter What Club.
No matter what.
No matter what happens.
Yeah.
I don't have to go back.
You don't have to go back. That is.
I don't have to go back. Don't want to go back.
Right.
You know, so.
So you saying that you know, you've been on this journey a while. How do you, because I know it hasn't been smooth, even though you haven't gone back through the journey that you've been on, when the trials and tribulations come, even without alcohol being in the picture, you know, what has been, how do I put it? Like, how have you persevered and been able to maintain not going back through the challenges that you faced? Because even in recovery, I think sometimes people say, okay, I'm gonna take this magic pill and I'm gonna be cured all, and you know, I'm done. I don't have to do nothing else no more. But it's you know, as we know, it's a daily practice. You know, what keeps you on your daily practice, or when you're having those challenging times, what has kept you from going back?
My story, the end part, when all hope was lost. You know, I had become hopeless, homeless, and helpless. And I don't ever want to feel like that. And I had many challenges, you know, that want me to want to go back because I didn't want to feel the pain. But having people in my life and having a program kept me from not taking that drink when my brother was killed, when my oldest brother was killed in '93. I didn't drink. I wanted to because I didn't want to feel that pain.
Right.
But having people in my life to help me along the way, I didn't drink. When my son got shot, grace of God, he didn't die. But the pain, didn't want to feel the pain, just wanted to be numb.
Right.
And I was on my way. And I heard a voice saying, you don't have to do this. And I didn't. You know, with all the deaths I experienced, you know, I had 3 people in the same year. My brother, my sister, my nephew, all died in the same year, 2012, a year before I graduated from UBC.
Okay.
In the 2 months apart.
Yeah.
And the pain was so, oh my God. But I just kept praying.
Yeah.
And I kept asking God, please help me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go back. It wouldn't have made sense.
No, not at
You
all.
know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, with my dad dying and aunts and uncles and sisters and my brother and, you know, and then being diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
In 2018, I was diagnosed with 2 different types of cancer in the same year.
Wow.
But I just kept holding on to God. Because I knew that he can fix it. You know,
Won't he do
and
it?
he fixed it.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm here.
Right. Talking to
You
me.
know, and it's been 5 years. I've been cancer-free for 5 years.
Awesome. That is beautiful.
You know, where my sister, 3 or 4 of my sisters and my brother all transitioned. All of them had cancer. My mother and my father all had cancer. My uncle, who I took care of for 20 years, had cancer. They all transitioned. And I don't question God. I just know he got me here for a purpose.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To carry out his will. You know, because my will is to self-destruct. So I had to make that change for the better. And I can tell you my life is good. I won't give nothing for this journey.
I know that's right. So what has been some of the good parts part of the journey? Some of the things that you've enjoyed that make you have a good time along the way?
Oh, laughter. I laugh. My children.
Yeah.
I have 3 grown sons. My grandchildren. You know, people who are very, very dear to me. Like I adopted a brother, you know, that's that's been with me throughout the whole ordeal. You know, and encouraging me. He didn't want to encourage me to go back to school. I kept telling him, I don't want to go to school. I don't need to go to school. And he made sense. He said, well, you're going to keep getting mediocre jobs if you don't go to school. So I went reluctantly. I went. And I found out. I was like, hey, girl. You got
I could do it.
Smarts.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, it was
start building your confidence. A
little bit of smarts.
Right.
You know, and so my family, my sister, my surviving sisters and my brother, you know, my nieces and nephews, they all play a part in my life, you know, and just knowing that God is always there.
That's the truth. That is definitely true. Indeed. You know. So for anybody watching the show that's maybe teetering or trying to figure out, you know, maybe needs to get some help, you know, but feels a little bit resistance, you know, how we say, you know, somebody's like, you know, just like say, maybe I'll do a little bit of research. I'm not sure or whatever. How do you deal with, you know, those folks that are, you know, maybe new to the world of recovery and don't, you know, maybe questioning whether they should take that step or ask for that help that they know they need, or in the, you know, when they're alone by themselves and kind of having those conversations and whatnot. What would you say to a person like that that's maybe questioning?
So one of the things, when, you know, just knowing who you are and what you need in life, you know, because everybody has a struggle. It doesn't necessarily have to mean addiction. It could be other life struggles. So, you know, you take a look at it. You face it as it comes. What we call is dealing with life on life terms.
Yeah.
You know, you recognize it, you accept it. Because acceptance is the answer to all your problems. You know,
that's some real talk right there.
We have to accept things the way they are, not the way that we want it to be.
Right.
Because that's not a reality. You know, and you got to be truthful to yourself. You know, be true to yourself. Knowing what you want in life. Do you want to stay on this side where you ain't accomplishing nothing and your life is going down to the ground? Or you want to come over to this side where you can reap the benefits of living? Because that's what it's all about. It's about living. You know, it's not about dying. And I ain't talking about a physical death, because we die mentally, we die physically, and we die spiritually. And if we don't have those 3 parts up to par, then what do we have? Right. Yeah. So if a person is struggling, you know, and mainly with substance use, we got it's help.
There's plenty of stuff out there. Yeah.
It's help out there. You know, we as advocates can walk you through the whole process because we've been where you are. Been.
That's why it's called a peer.
And we will meet you where you at.
Right. You
know.
Yeah.
And we will guide you throughout the whole process, and you won't be alone. Indeed. You might feel alone, but you're never alone.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's always help out there, you know.
Most definitely. So with some of the work that you do at DC Recovery, what are some of the things that you all offer? You offer stuff to not just the people, but to organizations that may be wanting to seek assistance, or how can we at DC Recovery or any type of recovery group, how can they go in and help organizations to help people? What is, you know, what's the type of work you do on that part?
So one of the things I do, and as the organization does, is that we capture people, we meet them where they are, we don't force them. If you want to be a part of our organization, then you come in, we do intake, we do assessment. If you want treatment, we would get you linked to a treatment program.
I've seen them do it.
We would personally take you to the treatment program if they have a bed available. And we will follow you throughout the whole process. If you need certain services, we would recommend. If you want to go back to school, we got I know a lot of resources in the city that I can link you to. You want to get your high school diploma? You can, not a GED, but a high school diploma.
Right.
You can get that. You need an ID or birth certificate.
Yeah.
We can get you that too.
Yep.
If you want some job skills, we can link you up to Job Readiness Center.
Yeah.
You know, it's a wealth of resources in the district that helps people who are trying to change their lifestyle.
Yeah.
But you got to be honest and sincere about it. You know, because time is valuable.
Right.
You know, and we're not in the business, and I'm going to say this,
Go ahead.
of wasting time.
Whew.
We just not.
Yeah.
Our time is valuable, so if you sincere and honestly want some help, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
And it's no cost.
Yeah, a lot of it's free. A lot of it's free.
It's no cost to
all
you.
of it's
All
free,
you gotta
right?
do
Yeah,
is
show up. Yeah. Be patient with yourself, be
Yeah.
patient with the process, and you can get what it is that you need and
Yeah.
whatnot. We've seen it happen time and time again, you know. And I always appreciate, you know, not just that you do the work, but how you do the work. You know, how'd you learn to be so, well, I know you could be gangster with it. I've seen you gangster too. But you just have so much compassion, and you know how to put that gentle hand out there as well and whatnot. How did you get, where's that gentle side come from?
I don't know. I guess it came from my mother for the short time she was in my life, because my mother died when I was 10.
Okay.
But she was a very gentle, loving woman, you know, and we got to have compassion for people.
Whew. People
don't want sympathy. They already feeling bad. They want compassion and empathy. You know what I'm saying? If you can't provide that,
right,
then leave them alone. Because they don't want your sympathy.
Yeah.
They want your empathy.
Yeah.
They want your compassion. They want you to listen. Because that's something we don't do. We have to listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying.
Yeah.
And that's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art in listening. It's an art in communicating. You know, you got to if they need to vent, let them vent.
Right.
What harm they gonna cause?
Right. Right.
Let them get it out.
Yeah.
And then go there. Then ask them, well, how you feel now, since you got that out?
Yeah.
Okay, what we gonna do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we help?
Right. Right. Yep.
How can we be of service?
Yep. Yep.
You know, because people are hurting. They're hurting, and they don't want our sympathy.
That's true. That's true. I like that saying. What is it like? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And that's what you see, and that's where that empathy and the compassion comes in, because it's like you said it's an art to listening. A lot of times we're hearing just so we can get to the point of saying what we got to say and what's on our agenda.
Yeah.
You know, what we, you know, even in doing recovery work, even doing peer advocacy, and sometimes it's like really just taking that time to be patient with somebody, and you know, it ain't no rush. You know, some people just want to get down and get to the paperwork, but it's like, nah, just sit down, let's have a conversation. You know, let me see what you're going through. What's really weighing on your heart, and what's really heavy on your heart. And that, you know, giving space and time, and you know, and sometimes you might have to sit and talk with them a couple times before you can even get to like an intake process, because they got to be able to trust you, because trust is a big factor. Build a relationship. Yeah. And a big factor of relationship is trust and whatnot, you know. And I guess I was going to ask, as we coming to the close of the segment here shortly, but I wanted to get from you, you know, how do you build that trust and whatnot? What's one of your secrets to building trust with people?
Well, you show them compassion. You have an ear for them, you know, and you just let them know, hey, if you got to trust somebody.
Yes.
So why not start with me? Because you got to trust somebody.
Gotta trust somebody, yes.
You know,
yes.
You know, you can start with me.
Right.
We can build a rapport. Let me tell you about me. And then you tell me about you.
Yeah.
And
give a little bit of yourself.
Out what you need, and I'm here to work with you. And one other thing I tell clients when I meet or new people, I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to help you.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they already being harmed.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I'm here to help you. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you don't care to, that's fine too.
Right.
But I want to plant the seed so when they go back, they go through something. They say, "Oh, Miss Brown told me I could,"
Mm-hmm.
and they'll come back because you gotta. I laugh with my clients.
Oh, you got to. You got to.
I tell jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you gotta
keep it real with
them.
them. Keep it real and honest with them and whatnot.
You do.
Because they can see whether you're being authentic and whether whether you're being fake. You know, some people, they want to talk from on high, but you got to get down there with them and be honest and show that you know where they are. Now I think that's one of the beauties of being a peer. But Mozell, I want to thank you so much for doing this with me and sharing, your story and being part of the second episode of Recover the Ball, and I know you're going to be a part of the journey as well because, we've been doing this together so far. So, I'm taking you with me anyway and whatnot. And I want to thank my Recover the Ball family for tuning in and I want you to continue to tune in. I want to thank Vision and Purpose Media Productions for hosting us once again. Shout out to Karen and Wesley. You're doing a phenomenal job. I want y'all to continue to watch us. We're going to be coming again. Another episode is going to air on the 26th of this month. And we're going to keep the ball rolling. We're going to recover that ball. And whatever that ball looks like for you, whatever that purpose is, however you need to recover, Cowboy Chris is going to be here with you. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm enjoying being able to share the stories with you, share the laughter, and sharing the fun. Like I said, we're meeting at that intersection of healing, hope, and having a good time. Tune in again. Tune in again in a couple weeks for Recover the Ball. I'm Cowboy Chris, and we out. Peace.